She said, "I just need some time." But time always tells the truth, and it told me she was never mine. You see, when a woman is using you, she doesn't take your money first. She takes your peace. She doesn't steal from your wallet. She drains your energy, your focus, your fire. And the cruel part, she does it with words that sound like love. "You're different. You're the only one who understands me. I'm not ready for a relationship right now." Each phrase feels sweet, comforting, almost healing. But underneath, there's an invisible transaction, your effort for her validation, your loyalty for her convenience. Most men never notice the trade until it's too late, because the most dangerous lies are not shouted, they're whispered by someone who says they care. So today, I'm not just going to list 15 lies women tell when they're using you. I'm going to show you the psychology behind why you fall for them and how to walk away without anger, but with absolute clarity and peace. Stay till the end, because by the time you do, her words won't have power over you anymore. Only your awareness will. Every man wants to be told he's different, that he's special, that he finally made her feel something she's never felt before. But that need, that craving for validation, is exactly what makes so many men fall for the sweetest lies. When a woman is using you, she rarely lies out of cruelty. She lies out of instinct, out of self-interest, comfort, or emotional convenience. But the reason her words cut so deep isn't because of what she says, it's because of what you want to believe. Men aren't weak because they fall for lies. They fall because they've been trained to measure their worth through approval. From childhood, they're told, be kind, be patient. To be understanding, that's how you'll be loved. And so, when a woman looks into your eyes and says, "You're different from other guys," your heart doesn't hear the words it hears. You finally did it. You're enough. That's not love. That's addiction. An addiction to being seen. The truth is, the sweet lie works because it mirrors your unmet need. "You're the only one who understands me" touches that hidden wound in you that says, if I can fix her pain, maybe I'll be worthy of staying. "I just need time" feeds the illusion that love is earned through waiting, not self-respect. "You deserve better than me" seduces your ego because it tricks you into playing the savior in someone else's chaos. You see, a man's deepest weakness isn't his desire, it's his hope. Hope that this time it's real. Hope that his loyalty will finally be rewarded. Hope that patience will turn a maybe into forever. And that hope, when weaponized by the wrong person, turns love into self-destruction. Carl Jung once said, "Until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life and you will call it fate." That's what happens in these relationships. You don't fall in love with her lies, you fall in love with the reflection of your own shadow. You're not chasing her, you're chasing the feeling she gave you, that temporary illusion that your pain has finally been understood. But it never lasts. Because a woman who uses you doesn't feed your soul, she feeds on it. Here's the paradox. The women who manipulate best don't need to scream or beg. They know how to mirror your ideal. They become everything you've ever wanted until you're too attached to see the truth. They say all the right words, but they never show up when it matters. They promise connection, but their actions whisper distance. They pretend to care, but what they really love is the version of you that gives without limits. And the more you give, the less she respects you, because what was once a choice becomes an expectation. What once felt like generosity becomes servitude, and what once looked like love was really your inability to let go of the fantasy she created. Every manipulative dynamic starts with imbalance. She gives words. You give energy. She gives promises. You give time. She gives the illusion of intimacy, and you give your peace of mind. But remember this truth: the moment you start negotiating for love, you've already lost your power. Because real love doesn't require convincing. It doesn't need chasing, proving, or pleading. It simply is. A stoic man doesn't fall for words. He watches for patterns. He doesn't cling to potential, he measures presence. Because he knows these words are wind, but consistency is character. Now, I want you to notice something powerful. Every sweet lie has one thing in common: it centers you around her. Her needs, her emotions, her healing, her timing, and slowly, without realizing it, you start abandoning yourself to keep her comfortable. You stop expressing your truth. You silence your instincts. You minimize your needs just to keep her calm. That's not love. That's self-erasure. And every time you do it, you teach her and yourself that your peace is negotiable. This is why detachment is not cruelty, it's clarity. When you detach, you stop reacting to words and start responding to energy. You stop needing her validation and start valuing your silence. Because silence is where truth reveals itself. When you stop speaking to defend your worth, you begin to feel which connections are real and which ones only survive on your effort. The sweet lie can only survive in noise, in overthinking, in over-explaining, in over-giving. But once you become still, you see her words for what they are: distractions from your awakening. You may ask, why do I keep attracting these women? Because life keeps sending you mirrors until you recognize the lesson, until you stop mistaking emotional labor for love, until you learn that the man who respects himself is never used twice by the same type of woman. You see, awareness doesn't make you colder, it makes you cleaner. Your energy becomes refined. Your presence becomes rare. And the kind of woman who lives on manipulation won't even approach you anymore, because she'll feel it, the calm power of a man who can't be emotionally blackmailed. And that's where transformation begins. When you no longer chase the sweetness of words, but the stillness of truth. When you no longer crave to be seen because you already see yourself. That's the psychology of freedom. That's where you stop being used and start being chosen, not by others, but by your own higher self. Because the real question was never, why did she lie to me? It was always, why did I ignore my intuition when she did? A woman's lie loses its power the moment you become honest with yourself. Because once you see the game, you no longer need to play it. And from that moment on, every sweet word that once disarmed you will only remind you of how far you've come. Because a man who has mastered his peace is a man no one can use again. She doesn't lie to hurt you. She lies to keep you. But every time you believe her words over her actions, You trade your peace for her comfort. And the cost, your self-respect. Group 1, Lies of Love, the illusion of connection. These are the lies that sound warm, intimate, and special. But behind every sweet tone hides one message. Keep giving. I'm not done yet. 1. You're different from other guys. It sounds like admiration, but it's usually manipulation. She doesn't mean you're unique. She means you're useful. A woman who truly values you doesn't need to say you're different. She shows it through exclusivity, through how she protects your time and respects your peace. The moment she needs to tell you you're different, she's reminding herself why she keeps you around, not because she loves you, but because you make her feel safe while she explores other options. 2. I just need some time. Translation: I don't want to lose you, but I'm not ready to choose you. It's the emotional equivalent of placing you on hold. You become her standby energy, available, loyal, and forgotten. A stoic man never waits for clarity that must be begged for, because time reveals truth, and truth never needs delay. 3. You're the only one who understands me. A classic bait for empaths and fixers. She turns her chaos into your mission, but the moment you try to save her, she stops respecting you because you become the therapist she never pays, the audience she never applauds. A man who truly understands her doesn't fix her, he mirrors her truth, and often that's the last thing she wants to face. 4. I'm not ready for a relationship right now. If she truly saw your worth, she'd be ready right now. This line is code for, I want your energy without your expectations. Don't wait for her someday, because someday is the graveyard of men who gave too much to women who never planned to stay. 5. I don't want anything from you. The sweetest lie of them all. She says she wants nothing while taking everything. Your time, your attention, your emotional stability. Watch the pattern, not the words. A woman who truly doesn't want anything will reciprocate. The one who does nothing but receive. She's not humble, she's harvesting. Group 2. Lies of control, the illusion of vulnerability. These lies don't flatter your ego. They feed it until it blinds you. They turn her into the fragile soul and you into her protector, all while she keeps the real power, your emotional investment. 6. I hate drama. Every drama queen starts here. She claims she hates chaos while living in it, arguing with friends, fighting with exes, thriving in emotional storms. When she says, I hate drama, what she really means is, I want peace, but only if I don't have to be the one who creates it. A stoic man watches the trail of chaos, not the confession of peace. 7. You deserve better than me. It sounds selfless. It's not. It's a trap for reassurance. She throws the bait, and you take it. No. I want you. You're perfect. Now you're emotionally invested in proving her wrong, and she's feeding off that devotion without changing a thing. Remember, a woman who truly believes she's not ready will work on herself. A woman who says it to keep you close is simply scared of losing control. 8. It'll never happen again. She says this after lying, flirting, or betraying your trust. But adults don't accidentally cross boundaries, they choose to. This sentence is not an apology, it's a reset button. Forgive her once if you wish. But if the pattern repeats, understand, you're not forgiving her, you're training her. 9. I don't know what I want. Yes, she does. She just doesn't want you. But she does want your presence, your attention, your validation, your effort. It's vagueness by design. Because as long as she's confused, you won't walk away. Don't let her confusion become your cage. If she doesn't know what she wants, you must know what you want, peace. 10. I've changed. A beautiful sentence, until you remember that real change takes time. Change doesn't speak. It behaves differently. If her growth exists only in words, then you're not watching transformation, you're watching performance. And performance always ends when the spotlight fades. Group 3. Lies of comfort. The illusion of love. These are the softest lies, the ones that make you stay when you know you should leave. They don't attack your mind, they cradle your heart. Until you mistake manipulation for love. 11. He's just a friend. You can feel it in your gut that friend isn't just a friend. Your intuition isn't paranoia. It's data. When her behavior doesn't match her story, trust the pattern, because transparency doesn't need defense. If she's protecting her privacy more than your trust, you're not in a relationship, you're in a performance. 12. I don't care about money. Then why does she keep taking it? There's nothing wrong with generosity. But the moment giving becomes expectation, you've become her resource. A woman who truly doesn't care about money contributes in other currencies: effort, warmth, peace. A woman who only receives, she's not your partner. She's your debt. 13. I just want to have fun. Fun is harmless until you realize you're investing while she's only playing. She gets your best years while saving her commitment for someone else. If she doesn't take your time seriously, she doesn't take you seriously. A Stoic man doesn't chase excitement. He builds peace and protects it from tourists. 14. You're overreacting. This one hurts most because it makes you doubt your reality. It's called gaslighting. She invalidates your feelings so she can keep control of the narrative. A woman who values you will try to understand your perspective, not dismiss it to protect hers. Never explain your intuition to someone committed to misunderstanding it. 15. I love you. The sweetest poison ever made. 3 words that mean nothing without action. If she says it but disrespects you, ignores your boundaries, or drains your peace, that's not love. That's addiction dressed in affection. Love isn't spoken, it's lived. It builds, it protects, it gives without keeping score. And if her I love you costs your sanity, then what she loves isn't you, it's your attention. The hidden lesson: every lie she tells has a mirror that reflects what you still need to heal. You believed you're different because you needed to feel special. You stayed, for I just need time, because you feared rejection. You accepted I love you without action because you confused attachment with connection. But when you become self-aware, when you finally see the link between your wounds and her words, you stop blaming her and start protecting you. Because a woman can only use the man who refuses to use his discernment, when you stop believing every "I love you," you start believing in your own peace. That's where a man becomes untouchable. Not because he distrusts women, but because he finally trusts himself. Every lie she told wasn't just about her. It was a mirror showing you what you refused to see about yourself. You thought she was testing your patience, but life was testing your awareness. The truth is, a woman can only manipulate a man who still seeks himself in her eyes, because when you need her validation to feel seen, you've already handed her the remote to your emotions, and she doesn't even have to press the buttons. You'll do it for her. We like to think women play games, but the real game begins long before she ever appears. It starts inside you, in that quiet place where you never felt enough, where being chosen meant everything, where rejection felt like death, where love was something you had to earn through effort, silence, or sacrifice. So when she came along and said, "You're different," your ego smiled. When she whispered, "I just need time," your fear of abandonment nodded. And when she said, "I love you," your inner child believed. Maybe this time, I won't be left. That's why it hurts so much. Because it's not just her leaving, it's every wound she ever touched coming alive again. Every moment you silenced your needs to be liked. Every time you gave more hoping to be enough. Every time you mistook attention for affection. She didn't awaken your love. She awakened your unhealed self. Carl Jung called this the shadow, the hidden part of you that you don't want to face, the needy, insecure, approval-seeking version of you that hides behind the mask of confidence. And when that shadow meets a woman who mirrors it back, the chemistry feels electric. You call it connection. But what you're really feeling is recognition. She's showing you everything you haven't yet integrated. That's why certain women feel magnetic, because they embody the exact energy your soul is missing. And until you find that energy within yourself, you'll keep chasing it in others. Let's be brutally honest for a moment. You didn't fall for her words. You fell for the story you told yourself about her. You didn't love her. You loved how you felt when you believed her lies. Because in those moments, you could rest. You could stop performing. Stop striving. Stop doubting yourself. She gave you the illusion of peace, and you confused that comfort with love. But peace bought through illusion always comes with interest, and the price is your self-respect. Here's the truth. Most men never want to hear, "She wasn't your problem. She was your teacher." She came into your life not to destroy you, but to show you how easily you destroy yourself when you ignore your intuition. She didn't manipulate your strength. She exposed your weakness, your hunger for emotional validation. She didn't betray your loyalty. She revealed how often you betray your own boundaries in the name of love. Every woman who used you was simply a reflection of the parts of you that were still asleep. And that's why, instead of hating her, you must thank her, not with words, but with growth. Because once you awaken, you start seeing the patterns for what they are, not bad luck, not evil women, but lessons disguised as heartbreak. You start noticing how your attraction shifts. You no longer crave Ks. You no longer chase intensity. You start wanting calm, depth, truth. Because you've finally learned that love without peace is a prison, and a woman who feeds your peace is worth more than 10 who feed your ego. There's a difference between being wanted and being respected. Most men chase the first, but a stoic man builds the second. Being wanted is temporary. It fades with novelty. But being respected is eternal. It grows with consistency. That's why emotional independence is the most seductive quality a man can have. Because the moment you no longer need her to choose you, you start attracting women who are capable of choosing you freely. Freedom attracts freedom. Clarity attracts clarity. And a man who lives with inner peace no longer fears losing anyone because he knows he can never lose himself again. You see, every woman who lies to you is unconsciously asking one question: how much of yourself will you give up for me? And the way you answer determines the quality of your relationships. The weak man gives up his boundaries. The broken man gives up his identity. But the awakened man gives up neither. He loves fully, but he never abandons himself in the process. He listens deeply, but never trades truth for comfort. He forgives, but never forgets the lesson. That's what makes him unshakable. So, if you've been used, betrayed, or discarded, don't rush to move on. Sit with it. Because the man you become after facing that pain is the man no one will ever use again. Pain has one purpose: awakening. It's not here to punish you, it's here to purify you. And once you stop fighting it, you realize something powerful. She didn't take anything from you. She just revealed what you were giving away too easily. Remember this truth. A woman's lie can only control you when you still need her truth to define you. But once you start living in your own truth, no manipulation, no silence, no sweet words can move you off your center. That's when you rise above the game. That's when you stop being used and start being remembered as the man who couldn't be broken, because he already knew who he was. The moment you stop chasing love, you start becoming it. That's when you become magnetic, not for her attention, but for your own destiny. Your silence speaks louder than her excuses. She can lie to you, but she cannot lie to your peace. There comes a moment when words lose their power, when you've argued, explained, and tried to make her understand, and yet nothing changes. That's when you realize you don't need to speak to be heard, because silence, when grounded in clarity, is the loudest form of self-respect. A stoic man doesn't fight for attention, he withdraws it. He doesn't chase truth, he embodies it. And when he stops reacting to emotional chaos, the entire dynamic shifts. Stop explaining what peace looks like. You don't need to justify your calm. You don't need to prove your loyalty. You don't need to convince her that you're different. When a woman uses words to confuse you, but actions to drain you, you reclaim power by stepping into quiet observation. Most men lose themselves not because of love, but because of over-explaining. They try to turn confusion into clarity through conversation, but you can't reason with manipulation. It thrives on reaction. When she says, "You're overreacting," let your silence answer. Because calmness terrifies the manipulator, it's the one language they can't control. Your silence says, "I see you. I'm not fighting for what should be freely given. I won't compete for peace, I'll create it. Withdraw energy. Not affection. Stoicism isn't about pretending not to care. It's about caring without losing yourself. So when you withdraw, you're not punishing her. You're protecting your energy. You're no longer available for conversations that go nowhere, for apologies that mean nothing, for drama that only exists to feed ego. She will notice the shift, not because you shouted, but because your presence used to feed her, and now her chaos meets silence. That silence forces reflection. It's the mirror she avoided looking into. And that's the power of withdrawal. It doesn't destroy it, reveals. Boundaries don't need permission. Your boundaries are not negotiations. They are quiet declarations of self-worth. When you say no, calmly and consistently, you're not rejecting her, you're respecting yourself. You're teaching both of you that peace is not earned through compromise, but maintained through clarity. Remember this: the woman who truly values you will respect your boundaries. The one who fears losing control will test them. And every time you reinforce your limits without emotion, you remove yourself from manipulation's grip, because she can lie to you. But she cannot lie to your silence. She can test your patience, but she cannot touch your peace. Don't play emotional chess. She flirts to test your jealousy. She withdraws to provoke your chase. She apologizes to reset your empathy. But you no longer move based on her strategy, because once you master self-control, you step off the emotional chessboard completely. And here's what happens. The manipulator loses interest, not because she's won, but because she can no longer predict you. Predictability is the oxygen of manipulation. Silence is its suffocation. That's why your calm isn't weakness. It's containment. You're not suppressing emotions, you're channeling them with purpose. Stoic calm is not absence of feeling. It's the presence of mastery. You feel everything, but you choose what deserves your energy. Reclaiming masculine energy. Every man who's been used must reclaim his energy, not by revenge, but by redirection. You stop giving her your time. You stop giving her your explanations. You stop giving her your confusion. And instead, you give those things to yourself. You meditate. You lift. You write. You rebuild. Because energy never disappears, it transforms. And the same energy that once obsessed over her can rebuild the empire you almost lost for her. The man who learns to withdraw his attention from the wrong woman becomes unstoppable around the right one. Because women sense energy, they always do. And when you no longer chase, your calm starts attracting a different frequency, not the ones who feed on chaos, but the ones who breathe peace. The power of unspoken boundaries. There's a moment she'll come back, they always do. Not because she changed, but because your absence became her mirror. She'll test your silence with a soft hey. She'll try to reopen the door with nostalgia, apology, or flattery. But you don't need to prove your growth. Your new calm does it for you. When she sees that her old tricks don't move you anymore, she'll realize something no argument could teach her. You've outgrown her world. And here's the paradox. She may respect you more now than she ever did when you tried to please her. Because the man who can walk away in peace is the man she'll never forget. The Stoic code of detachment. Your silence speaks louder than her excuses. Your calm cuts deeper than her guilt. Your peace is the final word. To live by this is to master the highest Stoic discipline, to never give your emotions to people who haven't earned your truth. She can lie to you, but she cannot lie to your peace, because your peace is sacred ground, and once you protect it, the storms outside no longer reach you. When you respond with silence, you are not losing control, you're regaining it. You're teaching yourself that peace is not the absence of pain, it's the discipline of not reacting to it. And that's the moment you become untouchable. Not because you've hardened, but because you've healed. He who learns to sit in silence no longer fears betrayal, for nothing can be taken from a man who no longer clings. That's the Stoic way. Not loud, not cruel, just aware, just free. Every man must lose one woman to find himself. A woman who uses you loses something she'll never get back. A man who once gave her his purest energy. There's a kind of pain that doesn't break you, it builds you. And that's the pain of walking away with your dignity intact. Because every man, at some point in his life, must face this moment. The moment he realizes she's not listening, she's not changing, and she's not going to meet him halfway. That's when the old version of him wants to fight, explain, fix. But the man who has seen too much, the Stoic man, he just exhales and walks away. Not in anger, not in bitterness, but in clarity, the moment of truth. The moment you decide to walk away is not when you stop loving her. It's when you stop betraying yourself for her. It's when your silence becomes louder than her excuses. When your calm becomes more seductive than her chaos. When your peace feels more valuable than her presence. You realize it was never about losing her. It was about finding the man you became when you stopped needing her validation. That's the awakening. That's when the love that once blinded you turns into light that guides you. And as you walk away, she feels it not because you slammed the door, but because you didn't need to. The energy shift. A man who walks away without resentment carries something sacred, his energy. The same energy she once fed on, the same energy that made her feel alive. But now, it's no longer hers. It's his again. And for the first time, he starts to realize how powerful it really is. You see, when you stop chasing, your energy starts to orbit back to its source. You feel more grounded, more magnetic, more real. Because the truth is, walking away isn't the end of a love story, it's the beginning of self-respect. And while she might call it cold, you know it's clarity. Because the man who no longer needs attention radiates something more dangerous than charm. Peace, detachment, is the final lesson. Carl Jung said, "We fall in love not with people, but with the parts of ourselves we've forgotten." So when you walk away from someone who used you, you're not rejecting her, you're reclaiming yourself. You're saying, "I no longer need your approval to feel whole. I no longer need your chaos to feel alive. I no longer confuse pain with passion." That's not weakness, that's mastery. Because real detachment is not about not feeling, it's about feeling everything and still choosing peace. You no longer fight to be understood. You no longer explain your boundaries. You no longer chase validation, because you've learned that the most masculine thing you can do is stay calm in the face of emotional warfare. She can lie, she can twist, she can even leave but she cannot touch your peace again. The freedom in letting go. There's a quiet beauty in walking away without resentment. You don't hate her. You don't need her to lose. You just choose not to lose yourself. And in that moment, something shifts in the universe. She starts to remember you, not the man who begged, but the man who stayed silent with self-respect. Because women never forget the man who refused to chase validation, the man whose absence felt heavier than other men's presence, the man who didn't punish, he simply disappeared into peace. You become the mirror she can't escape, the reflection of what real masculine restraint looks like. And the irony, she starts craving the same silence she once called cold. Because deep down, every woman is drawn to one thing, a man who cannot be manipulated. The rise of the Stoic man. When you walk away with awareness, you stop seeing love as a battlefield. You start seeing it as a classroom. Every betrayal becomes a lesson in self-worth. Every heartbreak becomes training for peace. Every loss becomes a purification of energy. You no longer ask, "Why did she do this to me?" You start asking, "What part of me allowed this to continue?" And when you answer that with honesty, you graduate. You realize she wasn't punishment. She was preparation. She didn't take your strength, she revealed it. She didn't destroy your confidence, she forced you to build it. That's why when a man truly walks away, he doesn't look back. Because what he found within himself is far greater than anything he left behind. The Stoic truth. A woman who uses you loses something she'll never get back, a man who once gave her his purest energy. But you gained something she'll never understand, the peace that comes from self-mastery. You no longer chase closure. Because you are the closure, you no longer seek revenge. Because peace is your revenge, and you no longer need validation. Because truth doesn't need witnesses. That's when you finally understand. She didn't break you, she built you. One boundary. One silence. One goodbye at a time. There comes a moment when the noise fades, and what's left is silence. Your silence. Not the kind that comes from giving up, but the kind that comes from waking up. You've listened to her words, her promises, her sweet lies. You've watched her patterns repeat like echoes in a loop, and somewhere along the way, you realized it was never about her lies. It was about the truth you refused to face. That truth is this: you were never weak for loving her. You were only blind for staying too long. Because the man who walks away with peace doesn't lose her, he reclaims himself. The Stoics said, "You suffer more in imagination than in reality." And that's what these lies were, illusions you kept alive. But the moment you choose peace, you shatter the illusion. You stop chasing potential and start protecting your presence. Remember this: the woman who uses you loses something she'll never get back, a man who once gave her his undivided, unfiltered energy. But you gain something priceless: self-respect. And that's the foundation of every high-value man, not his wealth, not his looks, not his charm, but his discipline. Because real power isn't about how loud you can be, it's about how silent you can remain when your worth is tested. So if you're watching this right now, maybe you're that man who gave everything time, energy, emotion to someone who only took. Maybe you're tired of repeating the same story with a different face. Then this is your moment. Not to hate her, not to prove her wrong, but to rise above the noise, detach, recenter, return to yourself. Because peace is not the reward, it's the requirement. And when you finally protect that peace, you'll attract women who no longer crave your weakness, but respect your strength. Every man must lose one woman to find himself, and when he does, he never loses again. If this message found you at the right time, then it's not coincidence, it's confirmation. Comment below, I choose clarity. Because that single declaration isn't just a comment, it's a decision, and every time a man says it, somewhere in the world, another man wakes up too. Welcome back to yourself. Welcome to the brotherhood of calm strength. Welcome to Stoic Truth 101.